So CeeLo and Harp are back for a little game of point blank. I love playing games with you, Harp.
Let's have some fun here.
Let's start right here. We're going to start with CeeLo, though. Fill in the blank. The Knicks bench will be blank in Game 6.
Crucial. I mean, Ian just laid out a lot of it for you and what we saw in the Game 5 victory, and also what DeLon Wright and Landry Shamet have been able to do since Tom Thibodeau has turned to them to play crucial roles in this series. Deuce McBride on that list as well. And I think Josh Hart, you know, in this particular series, probably a little bit better suited coming off the bench and the things that he can bring to the table. So I think the Knicks got a little hint at the blueprint of how to win another game against the Pacers in Game 5. Different environment, of course, going on the road, but those crucial minutes off the bench, and I think the defensive aggressiveness, energy, and intensity that some of those guys bring, they're going to need that if they're going to take the Game 6 on the road.
Yeah, crucial. I like it. It's been a roller coaster for this next guy with the Knicks fans. Harp, you know him well. I have blank expectations for Mikal Bridges at the moment.
You really want me to be a hater here.
You know him very well. I mean, you're a big Net fan.
I fill in the blank is he'll break your heart expectations for Game 6 or for Bridges, because you know where I stand on this. I've seen him way too much as a Nets fan. I saw him miss too many big important shots, and I have to give him credit because he's had his moments in this series, in this whole postseason, especially defensively. He's made some really big plays, and he's made some shots, but he disappears for too many minutes at a time. He stretches and misses little big shots too. I got to see him make a really big shot to believe it, that he can be that guy for them.
Yeah, listen to this. Outside of Game 4, where he went 4 for 5 from 3, for the rest of this series, he's 2 for 13 from long distance. He was 0 for 3.
Mid-range game is where he needs to be.
Definitely. All right, another guy who people have big feelings on, CeeLo. Blank is the key for Cat in Game 6.
Composure, because look, the aggressiveness when he gets going, especially when Jalen Brunson takes a seat on the bench and the offense runs through Karl Anthony Towns and he's assertive and he is the alpha male. Those are all great things, but we also see him get a little out of control at times on both ends of the floor, offensively, taking the ball to the rack. A lot of contact that he draws and doesn't get a whistle, and all of a sudden, throwing the hands up. You hear it audibly sometimes on the TV broadcast, him looking for a foul, and I think that bleeds into the defensive end sometimes too, where he'll just take some silly fouls. And we saw it in Game 5 where he got himself into foul trouble, and all of a sudden they went to the hack of Mitch for Mitchell Robinson, and then Precious Achiuwa had him get himself off the bench and into the game. So I think to go on the road, hostile environment, Game 6, where the Knicks probably aren't going to be playing with as big a lead as they had in Game number 5, Towns to keep himself in the ball game for as long as possible has got to have composure and play aggressive and intense, but under control.
Well, you heard Barkley ask him last night about why do you make those dumb fouls? He goes, God only knows.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Composure is definitely key for him. All right, Harp, we've seen different types of games played. So, Harp, the Knicks need Game 6 to be a blank game.
I'm going to say they need a Halliburton-light Game 6, as in which Halliburton's going to show up. You know, he had an all-time game in, what was that, Game 4, and then he barely showed up at the Garden the other night. He barely got to shoot. So he, to me, is the key guy for the Pacers. If he has a big game, I think they win pretty maybe easily even. If he struggles, I think the Knicks will find a way.
All right, guys, coming to you both on this one. We'll start with you, CeeLo. If they win, Game 7 would be on Monday night. So, CeeLo, Monday I will be blank at 8 p.m.
I'm going to be locked in. I mean, I'm going to be here in this building, in this studio, ready to go. I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully that's the way it plays out. They got to get the win in Game 6 first. But, I mean, look, you know, we talked about it on last night's show, Chelsea. I think I'm brimming with a little bit more confidence than some of the folks that are either following this series or Knick fans, Harp, Chelsea, JJ. You know, Sal and I love him, we're usually not on the same page about a lot of our sports takes, but we heard from him last segment. He expects a Game 7. I do as well. The only thing he talked about, he feels the Knicks are going to have to score a lot more points than they did in Game 5. He's expecting the Pacers to score more. And while that's probably true to an extent, I do believe in this blueprint that the Knicks put forth in Game 5. Maybe I'm taking the bait a little bit too much. Halliburton's going to be looking to shoot and score more, but I think the Knicks can do a better job defensively and find their way through to a Game 6.
All right, Harp.
All right, Chelsea.
I will be blank at 8 p.m. on Monday.
I will be napping at 8 p.m.
Wow.
Because the Mets are playing the Dodgers at 10 o'clock. I gotta get a nap in and stay awake because there's not going to be anything to watch. Listen, I'm not a hater. I'm really not. I'm not a hater of the Knicks, but I think the Pacers are going to win Game 6.
In Game 6?
It feels a lot like the Celtics, the Knicks going to Boston, losing, then coming back home and finishing it. I think the Pacers will do the same thing to them.
There was no Tatum.
The Celtics still won Game 5.
I know, but that
home.
was part of a champion. No Tatum. We give him one last hurrah. I mean, it's not like the Knicks are all banged up.
Listen, I'm all good for a Game 7, but I'll be fast asleep.
Listen, you got to take your nap at 6 p.m., okay? Get a couple hours in, then you can watch the game at 8. All right, I'm going to be on pins and needles, though, guys.
All right.
When Game 7 happens, Knicks got to win at the Garden.
Yes.
We'll see if